Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Worlds and Crafts, stream where we talk about setting building, talk about meta plots, mechanics, and today, map making. Everyone, sure I'm unmuted here. I am good. Probably all. I felt like I was forgetting something. All set up. So today, some moderately disappointing news. So I didn't get Gator City finished. Hey there, your big dad. Not get the Gator City model. Reason is I was doing drawings, but I'm that good at I'm better at much simpler things. That said, I was able to import some related to this, so I can at least show you guys. I managed to make little isometric squares, which is just the experiment. Some alpha layers with transparent background. In so these isometric squares that more or less are, science fiction, but basically just discovering how easy it is. And it is super. Just export whatever you're working on that has a transparent background layer as a PNG. I mean, so for anyone who works with all, they would know. Still, it was just a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. That looks pretty okay, Making an alligator city. Making an alligator city is quite a lot bigger and larger. But I was realizing that maybe it's not really relevant anymore. So we have, because that could be a finishing detail. But I was thinking instead that we can define visual trail. Gator City takes some. Yeah, I remember exactly. So I was thinking monstrous gator ends up taking a mountain path. Then kind of going. That's okay. I'm gonna go down. Here I was thinking. Up in here. That guy had to. Oh, hold on. Sorry, I was really focused on that. Yeah, it is really quiet, isn't it? Why are you so quiet? possible that it's just not close enough to my damn face, but it also looks pretty quiet right there. So was it cutting out as in I was being too quiet? Or, you know, check the filters. I'm gonna check the filters over in OBS. Are you guys still getting me cutting out? Something that happens in the mornings to me that my voice much more, and so sometimes it's quite a bit deeper. Hello there, 22 Golem 22. And I never did say hello to you as well, Gravia the Malkov. Always a pleasure. Okay. So then back to this path. I just wanted to mark out this path using the paths tool in Incarnate, even though it's a little early for that, because I kind of wanted to go, well, this is where the massive alligator would go. And I like the idea of him probably not wriggling down this valley, because I frankly think it's too small. I mean, now granted, if by the powers that be, if everyone goes, no, I want the alligator to wriggle down that place, I could very easily make it larger. Not difficult to make the ravine much larger, and it could have been formed by the alligator. But considering that on last stream, predominantly worked on our lovely little city on the savannah, I think that is a good place to focus in. Okay. Got a couple of these dead trees shrunk way the heck down. Something that's lovely about Incarnate is using the W and S keys. And using the W and S keys, you can change the size from your keyboard. That's fun. I want the implication of there being very dry grasslands around here. So you hit the magic forest of wondrous green. Because why not? Like that. Grab some shrubs. Drop some shrubs here. Because, well, there would be shrubs, but also, I'll probably want to move them around at some. And I'm more or less randomly placing these just in the same pattern as, and you know, around the river, kind of imagining this vague band, between the river and desert plant. Well, it's not actually a desert. Willow trees, that's cool. do some grasses. We are, going to amend this. Okay? Um, with some brushes as well, but clumps of grasses are intended to just represent taller, more vivacious bunch. And yes, Golem, I believe so. So I might change this. I was thinking the same thing, that the river really should have more green around it, than anywhere else. And so I was thinking of, once we establish kind of the base between zone, of this grassland area, um, maybe this just looks terrible and we don't want it, then we can change it. But yeah, I'm gonna use some brushes in a bit. After placing some more of these, try and make things appear a bit more green on the riverside, a bit more golden in the middle, and then realistically golden probably all the way up to the coast. Well, seawater can be refreshing to plants, but it also cannot be. Depends on the plant. I'll save my changes because I just made a holy crap ton of them. I made a lot. So how's everyone doing today, by the way, on this lovely afternoon? Yeah, it's been very warm. It hasn't gotten below 86 Fahrenheit around here lately. Blessed be the inventor of air conditioners. Ah, if this is a like tundra-like area, lavender might actually be a thing that we have. I don't want to put too many, but having some splashes of color might be nice. When I was living in Montana, there was I was surprised by the amount of lavender and the amount of sage. Good God, kind of startlingly beautiful. You're in this dark, arid region, and then suddenly lavender, beautiful purple bush. Not what I want. That is the wrong thing. I'm attempting to play some my noise backgrounds and decide what. Why don't we do Night Thunder? The grasses. Okay, so let's just go in and brush. Ah, fair enough. Well, welcome voice inside of head. So the brush size down quite a lot. I'm gonna use this dark brown that we've used in the past for shading. I'm just gonna go in and I'm gonna take care of that same thing. I'm gonna turn down my opacity to like 50%. I'll leave my softness up. That's fine. Probably size 7 will do. And I'm just going to drag some of this dark brown. Let's just click. Click kind of wildly, in fact, with my mouse. Just tapping on the map if you touch screen. Creating some apparent depth in and around these plants. Oh, save you again. Isn't always sluggish. Usually it's computer that's sluggish. But occasionally I've placed a lot of assets like this. Can be a little slow. So place a whole lot of assets rapidly and all at once really slow down your map tab. But yeah, I'm just going in. I'm just kind of dragging around here and there, but leaving spots that are untouched between some of these. Um, I want to make the stamps stand out, and it really helps darker around them. Human eyes drawn to contrast. Right now, this kind of does look like a desert, but we are going to add some more color. Um, make it appear as though it's some kind of grassland. And if we decide we hate all of these grasses, we won't have to go in one by one and just clean them up. Thank God. We can go in and we can select that stamp from a list and fix it that way. It's gonna take just a little bit of time because there's so many little babies. I just had my first sip of coffee for the day because the past several weeks I've been struggling to get up in the morning, but my spouse and I, we both work from home. So we kind of had our own schedules. Nice, but also, has its downsides. But as a result of that, I've been waking up and hopping directly on stream. Getting dressed, of course, with my wonderful Gehenna Gaming merch. You too could own one of these shirts. We just started doing etched glasses, I think, too. Not really my shtick, but I know that they're quite popular gifts. Hmm. So for those who might be new to listening, I'm currently listening to a website called mynoise.net. And right now I'm listening to their Summer Night Thunder noise generator. And I love giving them a boost even if we don't aren't in some kind of mutual support agreement, because they just have for the neurodivergent and easily distracted, or the people who have trouble focusing, these sounds are sometimes what you need. Right now, Night Thunder is doing me just fine. Crickets, thunder, there's some wind. There's the occasional call of a bird. It's very natural, but there are also ones that are like spiritual. Um, some some tonal generators that are completely different. There's also role-playing game ones, RPG, um, sound generator scapes that create, fictional places. Like one of them's called Poltergeist. You know, so there's all kinds of stuff available in there that I highly recommend. And of course, I'll go ahead and do my whole spiel about Incarnate, the map tool that I'm using right this moment. Incarnate is free to use, and it's very robust for being so accessible. It may not have all the same tools that some map making programs have, but it is extremely accessible, very easy to use. Design principles seem to be based on ease of use and just like clean appearance. Um, it's pretty dang darn intuitive, and that's very important for me. Um, I personally don't like to spend time having to get uh, a doctorate in software to make good use out of it. I just want to personally dive right in because at the end of the day, you know, that is a valid mentality to have, that you want your piece of software to be robust, but usually that means that you're using it as like your primary mode of living, right? I'm not. I'm not. This is fun for me. I enjoy this. And Incarnate fulfills that. It fulfills a sense of enjoyment and also usability. Created many maps at this point with Incarnate, few of which I've kept because a lot of them were kind of terrible. I probably should have kept them, but oh well. We are very nearly done creating beautiful hubs. As you can see, it's creating kind of this pattern, this broken up pattern, which looks kind of very natural, like the curvatures of a landscape. And that's going to aid in the depth and feel of our final map as well, overall, not just this area. Okay. I'm not gonna go to the right side of the river yet. I wanna just do the this side because I wanna see what's gonna happen. How it looks. And if it looks really great, then we'll give the other side the same treatment. Okay. So next I want to do is I want to find a grass color for our scrubland area. And I think I'm going to use this land yellow one for the moment and see how that goes. I might add some green, but I'm going to go for the light patches between where there's no shadow. And I'm just going to it's okay if you overlap. You know, and I'm going to hit those with a little bit of color. Turn up my opacity just a little bit. I do want it quite bright. Always go back over this if we have to, but we're also trying to not waste our own damn time here. So this yellow doesn't appear to be terribly bright, so we're probably going to have to go back in another color, but this might still do. It's not brown. It doesn't look dead. You know, typically life is the thing that produces yellow pigment, not desert, not completely dead things like sands of a desert. I want this to be a grassland, even if it is arid. Oh, clicked one too many times and confused it. I'm gonna go ahead and save my 175 changes. And something I have learned about using Incarnate is it is a program that does require a bit of patience. Get the most use out of it, you really kind of gotta just take your time. And I'm starting to think that the shadows here actually weren't deep enough, so I'm definitely going to go back in and do another shadow layer at some point. But I think I'm just going to go through the motions first, and then we can go back in. Now that the opacity is up to 75% instead of 50, I think it's leaving quite enough of a color and a mark in one pass that I'm able to just kind of go quickly. Doesn't matter if I accidentally hit our shadowy spots. It doesn't destroy them completely. It just lightens up a little bit, which is okay. Um, we can always go back in and add more contrast later. For the moment, though, make this whole land a yellowish color. And I try not to to hold down my mouse button too much area. Try and make a pattern, let go. Get kind of a better, more natural texture when you plot. And while that does make more changes, so therefore, you know, things for the program to catch up with, it just adds a much more uneven edge, like this more blended edge. Quite nice. Let that catch up to what I just did. All right. So now that I've done a little bit of yellow, I'm going to. Oh, looks like it's still kind of broken. There we go. I'm gonna save the changes. Oh, I got a little worried there for a second. This hasn't crashed on me in basically since I first started using it, and that was years ago. So that would be a rarity. Go ahead and grab some grass color. It's this nice textured green grass color. And along the riverbanks, I want to fill in some of that with vibrant green. And I'm probably going to go back in and add some stamps as well. And again, I'm just clicking along here, moving my mouse kind of slowly. I don't mind if it's patchy because it's along a riverbank in a dry region. It doesn't have to be, you know, uniform. Entirely possible that that particular area is kind of rocky. Oh, interesting. Not. And it's still just catching up. Yeah. But yeah, it could be quite rocky along the edge of the river, so you don't necessarily want to assume anything. Okay, save my changes. Because I'm making so many, so such a short span. Now I think I'm gonna lower my opacity down to 50. I'm gonna raise the size of my brush, like, and I'm going to just kind of strokes, but bigger, broader strokes, all along the side of the river, um, to bring in a that blended aspect to it. And because we already did one layer, you have these much green. I think that looks really nice. I think that with the yellow, it looks like the green is blending out, but I do kind of want it a little more rich. Before we do that, let's go in and add some trees. I was thinking actually maybe of tossing out the idea of there being willow trees. Willow trees are water-loving trees. So just adding a couple of these in different places, maybe places that are especially green. Trying to think of one place that might be that. And you know, because it's near the city, and we did establish that the city is very excellent at gardening, what if we establish an area over here that's kind of near, like the willow wood? Quite a few willow trees hang over here. Clusters there. I want to add some other trees. A little bummed that they don't have Oak trees are the right color. Yeah, let's do a couple oak trees. A little bummed. They don't have like acacia trees in here. That's really what I want. Is that look, that appearance? They have like sequoias. They have a lot of North American things. That's good, useful, but not 100%. Okay, that's a plenty. Um, Now go ahead and back to our land brown one. Lower back down our brush size significantly. Let's go make some dark marks on. And you know, I'm looking at this and I'm realizing that I think that a lot of the grass shadows, a lot of them aren't dark enough. So I'm probably gonna go back in and darken those up a bit. Make it look nice and pretty. A lot of these camps that kind of look like they're floating, uh, don't give them the sense of belonging with darker color. I didn't really notice that for a long time, but everything did always feel off, and I couldn't figure out why. It was ultimately that. Ultimately that. There just wasn't enough um uh wasn't enough contrast map. Well, I will just. So I think I'm gonna take one more of the light green brushes, yellow, this land yellow. I'm gonna make my brush quite large. I'm gonna bring down the opacity. Let's just say to 40%. Large stroke. Because I wanna fill in the rest of this a little bit, make it all the fact that it's. I think there is enough contrast here now. I am gonna also drag some of this out on this. Yeah, looks a little busy, my eye. So I might end up removing some grasses. Maybe just making little tiny clusters of here and there instead of dotted all over the. Right now, it kind of looks like a Minecraft biome. Um, all right, so I'll go to my select tool and I'm gonna open up the sidebar here, the right panel, and we have a list of objects. So I can go down and look at all the objects I've got, or I can. I'm just gonna search for grass. We've only used grass in a couple places, and so I'm gonna select 190 matching grass, and I'm literally just gonna delete them. So I've successfully removed all the grasses. I do like the shrubs. I like the lavender. I like some of the grasses, but I'm gonna rearrange. It would be a lot easier without all the tiny grasses. Ferns, I don't grass. I will go ahead and just place a couple here, just so I have. Go about and let's fit. Always lavender clumps. That quite pretty. Um, so Golem, if you would like to share pictures, I don't see why it would be a problem if it's a link. Um, though that might be turned off. Actually, I think you have to be authorized. I haven't actually had that question come up, and I would have to ask my superiors and or one of our more experienced moderators. See who's here. Yeah, it looks like I don't have another more experienced one right here right now. So sorry to say that. Golem, are you part of our Discord server? Because if you aren't, you should join it. I also say that because in the podcasts and streams chat, you could definitely drop images there. I'll go ahead and open up podcast streams right now. Okay. Yeah, you should definitely join. We're very friendly and very there's a lot of different kinds of nerds in that chat, in that Discord. God, we have so many different types of people. Great. I love it. Yeah, so I did accidentally over busy my map, so I'm just gonna create little clusters of things here and there. That I can then, that was rude. It was incredibly rude. Did I move my path? What happened? I did. Okay. I'm gonna just delete the path because the path is a giant object apparently that is overlaying everything. Life annoying. I could have locked it, but I'll just re-add it later. So yes, you can join our Discord. We're very friendly people, and there's a lot of different kinds of nerds. We actually have a surprising, I say surprising, number of WWE fans. But like people, I feel like you wouldn't expect to like WWE, but I think I've just been misidentifying WWE fans my whole life. Um, yeah, so we have a lot of wide variety of people. Um, Wes of Carrion Comfort Studios is one of the members there. Um, we actually even have quite a few tabletop RPG indie developers in our midst, freelance writers, quite a few programmers. My roommate is a member of the server as well. He's a level designer, video games, and a college teacher. So just have a bunch of. We actually don't have that many Zoom, realistically. I mean, we have some, but the millennial run server. We try and make it as age friendly as possible. But ultimately, I think it does end up attracting a lot of similar age people. I think this can be a lone bush. Be a lone bush. You know, it's funny. I used to hate wrestling. I don't really engage on the topic much because drug. I don't know. But I used to hate it, and I hated it not because it was like terrible. I hated it because I thought it was like dumb when I was a kid because my parents were condescending people about things. So I ended up, absorbing that as a kid, not realizing I was just being shitty for no reason. That like, hey guys, entertainment doesn't have to be smart. I mean, and frankly, WWE wrestling is a lot smarter than I thought it was as a kid. Like a lot damn smarter. There's there's so many opportunities that they take to make just commentary, and it's kind of subtle sometimes. Anywho, but yeah, um, lots of different type of nerds. Got plenty of artists too. My partner included, who you can follow on Twitter, by the way, at Seditious Design. You know, that in there for you because He's a wonderful illustrator. Serves followers. I'm disliking that the randomizer chose the same, like almost the exact same lavender plant. What are the chances? Oh, pretty low, but they're there. They exist. Okay. I think I'm actually gonna and I'll make one more little cluster before I rearrange things. Yeah. Okay, maybe 2 more clusters. A tiny 3-dot cluster. And then you folks over. Bye bye. Now let's arranging. Oh, how rude. That is very rude. Trying to select. There we go. Trying to select just these objects was difficult for me. Okay, now, folks, drag them. Ooh, move some thingy things around. So we get a satisfying dispersal. Can't really see the lavender. Separate these out just slightly. Sometimes it's nice to have clusters of things, but usually I find I like things in vague paths, I say. Drop you here. Actually, I like you. Let's switch these two. I think the trees should stay riverside, so to speak. Coffee. That's what happens when you have a pop screen in front of your face and you can't see your cup of coffee sitting right below you. Right in front of you. Drag it over. This setup up this direction. What I'm going to try and do is separate out a lot of the trees so that they're not too close to each other. But I actually like these. I think this adds an implication that something happened at some point, that this was maybe also forest and isn't anymore, even, or hasn't been for a long time. Or maybe just that forests seeds land in the fields occasionally and take root, and maybe in a very good year they sprout, grow, and then on a very bad year they don't continue to do that thing. So this is still a little busy. Drag this up side. Actually, something I should be doing more of is overlapping the river, because it does add depth. And I can be adding more things. Because, of course, this is the green zone. So I could have quite a few things up here and it wouldn't feel out of place. Quite in. Especially if you're overlapping the river. Overlapping your geographic spaces and objects is absolutely a wonderful way to add to depth. Like I could move this bad boy ever so slightly. Even just that little branch overlapping is going to add that sense of depth. Drag this up. Starting to like this dispersal. Okay. I think that's a good attempt here. could drop it in outdoors if you like, or you can drop it right in podcast-streams and non-gaming because it's related to our conversation here. Check the outdoors channel though. Updates from. We also have some rather foreign members of the server from all over the world, but they're kind of sparse. But for the most part, a lot of us are from North America. All right, so in order to kind of kill off this thing I messed up here, I'm gonna kill off all of my shading, and I am gonna go back to base color. Desert. Brown 3. Yeah, it's land brown 3. Okay, so I'm gonna go back in with land brown 3 at full at 100% opacity, and I'm just gonna start recoloring this, just because we're gonna have to go back in and. So I don't have to do all of that, but I can leave the green patches that don't have shadows on them, and even if some shadows are nearby, that's okay. I am just gonna back in here. Did I confuse it? I'll pick up as many as I hoped it. And I will check that out in a moment, Goal. See that you did in fact post a link in podcast. Tag me. And so I'm just clearing out all of the dots between everything that are unnecessary. I do want some larger patches, grassland between objects, rather than just bunch of small objects. Okay, hasn't completely destroyed everything, but it's. So I'm gonna switch again from land brown 3 to parchment brown. Nope, that was a lie. We were using land brown 1, right? Land brown 1, and again bring down the opacity. We'll go 65%. Add some. I guess I'll shrink my brush a little. Add quite a bit of dark spot. You can expand out beyond borders of things, because it just makes it look like discolored land. Save art. And hello there, the Nat30s. And hello there, I'm assuming Ravnos on Gehenna Gaming. I don't know if anyone else even the login. How you doing, buddy? Ravnos is one of our founders at Gehenna Gaming. Do not direct all questions to Ravnos. Ravnos often doesn't know what Ravnos is doing. I'm kidding. But yeah, how are you doing today? I like that you can only see my eyes, so the cheeky smile is not completely lost. I need to move my dang pop screen. Now you can see the cheeky smile. I'm doing pretty well, except I spilled probably an eighth of a cup of coffee, and so I'm a little bit sad. I am an eighth of a cup sad. I also haven't had the chance to clean it up. We are going to be taking a break here in just a moment, however, because it is almost the top of the hour, and I'll try and keep it as brief as possible, as always. But before we do that, if you're new here and you don't follow Gehenna Gaming on Twitter or on Facebook, we have a group, and we even are on Instagram. If you don't do those things, you should definitely check us out, because we have all kinds of good stuff that we do all the time. It blows my mind because I feel like I often don't know what's going on. And I'm like, oh my gosh, we were doing this thing? That's amazing. And, if I paid more attention and followed our channels more, I would know that. Or if I checked my calendar enough. But either way, we do actual plays, we do interviews, we do shows like this one. We even do digital conventions, virtual conventions, things like that. And we're all about facilitating consent-oriented, meaningful gaming experiences. So, if you don't normally do the whole tabletop thing, want to check it out, join our Discord. If you do the tabletop thing and you want more players, join our Discord. And that is the last thing I wanted to mention. Indeed, we also have a Patreon to support all the lovely things that we are able to put on for people, such as conventions. Because there's a lot of hours that go into those, but it's difficult for us to keep doing those in the non-profit capacity that we've been doing them in. We've been donating a lot of proceeds, or all proceeds. I don't recall what percentage of proceeds, but we do a lot of charity work. So, supporting us on Patreon is the best way to make sure we can keep. 100%. That's what I thought. I would hate to say that and then be wrong about one thing, But it is 1:01 p.m., so let's go ahead and take a short break, get some water, stretch your legs. We'll be back for some more map making here. And remember, folks, Black lives still matter. And we are back. Everyone's little break there was good. Got up and I stretched my legs, a little bit more water, and to my partner. Everyone, gonna keep darkening up some of these patches under the stamps. Wondering if there's a better color. There's this lovely grass here. Bland yellow is probably. Let's bring up our brush size. 7. Oh no. Gonna go ahead and a lot easier without all of these all of the objects. That's really not green, sorry, it's a yellow, isn't it? It's a green. Delightful. Also, I did take a look at those images, and yeah, that is kind of the area I'm going absolutely right. Back in spaces that they vacated. You'll definitely notice that there's still some color variation, which is good. While I want the predominant visual effect to be that there is this yellow grasses, I also want that variance. I think I'm gonna choose some patches, very vibrant, very saturated. Gotta always be kind of far from it. Absolutely no shadow error. They don't have to be exactly connected either. Wrong tool. Little square right here that I can see. Lines. Okay. Now let's go back in with grass green. That's probably a little bit easily grabbed. Bring that down. I want to blend the green into the yellow. So I want the opacity quite low. And as before, short strokes and single clicks are best for blending, most certainly. Of course, around this forest area, I think I would like bit more. As always, try to go around, these spots where there's shadow and dark patches. You don't really want to, destroy those. You want to maintain them. Even if you're gentle about it, so to speak, you're still going to diffuse them too much to be effective. Starting to look. I don't think we need grasses at all. I think the shrubs establish exactly what. So this is something I'm not terribly good at, but this is a thing you can do to try and make it look like grasslands. Turn my opacity up, can turn my softness all the way down. So it's 100% opaque, 0 softness, hard edges, size 1 brush. Oh, let's. I actually didn't want the opacity all the way up. And I'm actually going to go even lower, go even smaller than that. So you can't go below a size 1, technically. Well, damn, I can't at all. So we're just going to lower our opacity then. Down to, let's say, 39. Right. Our map might be too large for this. Opacity. Okay, for some. Okay, that could work. So, clicking little dots along streaks here and there, and that up. Yeah, gentle clicks here along the way. I'm gonna try and click in little bursts here, small similar direction. Not the same exactly, but close to it. And it's okay if they overlap, it adds a sense of reflection. What we're doing right now is we're trying to capture the of waves of gray, because they always reflect light along the way the wind is blowing. Do the same thing with ocean waves in this program as well. So the wind, in this example, is flowing from the flowing northwest. I'm trying to make sure there's waves in here. I don't want it to be. I don't want it to be straight by any capacity. Even though the wind moves in one direction, it shifts and changes. Oh, might be a little bit too much dots. I might have to fix that there later in the week. I'm not going to do that today, but I'll turn down the opacity a little more. See if we can. It looks really good when you're on a far away, like looking at far away things. But this just might be a little too zoomed in, for this to be hyper effective. The Fantasy Regional Maps Classic, it looks really good on, and I had never tried it on this. not bad. I don't think I'd repeat it on this size map exactly, but nonetheless, it is a technique that is really useful to you, and I think we can probably fix it pretty easily. So let's actually try that. Let's try and make it more palatable. Take the grass green, and I'm going to bring my brush size back up to probably a size 7 will do. And I'm going to keep my opacity really low. I want this to barely touch things. And I'm going to turn my softness all the way back up. I do want that still in there. I'm just going to kind of brush over the top of these. What kind of effect that has. That didn't really do all that much. So maybe what we want then, back in. Bring our brush size back down. Bring our opacity up quite. And yellow and alright, I guess we're going up to 100%. So I've gone completely opaque with the yellow, and I'm just gonna go in here, kind of mess around with these. A lot of these spots are also kind of, a lot of these areas over here are missing completely opaque yellow. So what I'm kind of doing, making the white a little less profound, instead adding a little bit of yellow in there. So maybe that will look a little bit more grasses at this scale. Might not. But we are applying adjustment to an existing process for a different map in the same program. I'm definitely overlapping this quite a lot because I felt like it was a little too rounded, a little too thick. At the scale of this map, it was just too visible. You could very easily see the kind of the rounded edges to it. I thought it looked great. A little too easy. So we're gonna just tweak that by some more yellow and overlapping that white just a bit. Take out some of its sharpness. Just want thin white lines to show the reflection just off the heads of the grass where they curve down. They curve because of the wind. The light just reflects just for a moment off of their stalk near the head. It's already starting to look a lot better, actually, I think. Shrinking down this white band, these white bands, bringing forward some of the color yellow. Something else fun that you can do, which we will cover in a later episode, is take you can take images. And I mean, we definitely futzed around with this a couple episodes ago. You can take stamps and you can apply them to a more or less blank to a blank map, and you can then import those stamps after exporting them as an image. You can import them as a background. So then you can apply things like this. You can apply brushes to the backgrounds of your maps, which don't always have to be land. You can make interior maps with this program as well. That's definitely a skill set I haven't expanded on, so I definitely want to touch on that. But at the moment, we're kind of making our world. So when we've finished with this, touch on interior that that's what everyone wants. Probably take a Twitter poll because that's always a good way to check to see what people want to cover next. But we're a ways off from that. We take it slow. I'm actually kind of even liking the yellow grass in the green section over here because it stands out more, but it doesn't look bad. Have a unifying element. I had 292 changes, so I'm going to save those. And I'm sorry, Golem. I didn't see, 10 minutes ago, I didn't see your comment. You said in model painting you did a similar thing, starting with the base color, then a dark wash, and then followed up accenting with highlights. You know, I actually used to do model painting once upon a time. I hadn't applied that lesson here in my own mind because I hadn't thought about this as the same thing as like painting. You know, in my brain for some reason I divorced the two. Like this is not painting. But you apply all the same techniques in mind. You just have to apply them with a new set of tools. You're absolutely right, you know, about that. And I think that same applies to any kind of painting. You know, obviously this medium is going to be different. You know, it's not the same. It's not acrylic paint, but if you understand how it layers most effectively, you can most definitely make good use of that concept. I think I just didn't do model painting long enough to really appreciate how what exactly that process was doing. I was just following instructions, not really thinking about it. That's an excellent way of putting it. Relish depth in. These look like two little smiley eyes right here. Okay, yeah, that looks a lot better. I still might go in and mute them down a little bit, but the shape of them I'm enjoying quite a bit more. I'll lower my opacity to 50%. Bring up my brush size. Still using that yellow, so I might have to fix the green after this, but I will call that good enough. Yeah, I actually think that looks good now. I think that could be that draws enough eye in that direction that once the rest of the map is done, I think you'll be able to see that it is the waves in grass. So we've successfully applied our grassland, and it has taken us the most of the episode to do so. But this episode included a lot more painting than other episodes have. Realistically, not all of which is done. And we got one tiny portion done. As I said, this can take a bit of time. But it's also very satisfying. You know, if you type of person who feels like you can immerse yourself into something for a while, choose your favorite sound generator. Choose your favorite song, your favorite playlist, whatever. Turn it on. And just kind of go here and make a map. Just fiddle around with it. It's a lot more fun than you think it is. And I think from afar it's looking quite nice. When we first started, all we did was we added mountains, started adding some rivers. Last week we built a town, and you know it doesn't look perfect, but that's because I was again intending on building my own things. These are all kind of placeholders, and many of them not complete. But by piece, we will get there. You'll be able to watch the process along the way, take part, make suggestions. That's what we do here. Oh, okay. Hey, I do really want to add some more of those waves. But I'm not gonna do that right this second. So for those watching, then last 30 minutes of the show, is there a particular thing that we've done today, or maybe done in the past, or something I've referenced that you want to see again, or want me to go back over? Any questions? Not something I always ask because a lot of times we go up right till the end, but right now we have an excellent percussive pause, a moment to consider what we've done. Gonna go ahead and make a tweet while I'm looking at this. I mean, that's to get the transition to to transition the forest to the savannah. That's true. Yeah, I think that could very easily be done in the half an hour, as we could take some time transitioning savannah into the forest. I'll go ahead and tag incarnate in this. Wow, my voice just cracked. That was exciting. I think I need a sip of Wouter. No one's redeeming hydrate anymore. How am I supposed to know when to drink water? I think to start our transition, then, what I'm honestly gonna do is I'm gonna go in here and I'm probably just gonna add a couple extra. Um, but I think we should add a little extra variety of trees here. I think the oak trees were excellent over there, and I think they'll make nice transition trees over here. These ones are currently a lot smaller than their cousins. So I'm probably gonna have to bring the size of some of these up. That we want them to scale up toward the forest. I want the forest trees to be the largest and healthiest. They have a functioning mycelium network. And I'm just gonna ease up ever so slightly. Don't like that these two nearly identical trees are near each other, so let's switch these two. Ah, those are nearly identical as well. Son of a bitch. Content warning. I swear. Um let's see here. So I think we'll just add some more deciduous trees. Bit on the larger side, because I mean the ones over here are like size 30. That we'll intersperse some deciduous. In here, some other vague deciduous trees that are very green. And probably want some more bushes. We want the sense of underbrush, I think. They're very large bushes. They're over large bushes. Okay. We'll just represent large amounts of underbrush. Better. I think that'll do. I'm gonna drag some things around, probably cluster them up a little bit. Typically unless you're making something one big mass, which I kind of did here, but I left a gap. I don't know if you see it along the river. You kind of want to do things in clusters. Otherwise, it looks really strange. Doesn't look very good, not in clusters. And it's okay to have lone ones here and there. Definitely want things to be kind of grouped with some empty space available to them. And oftentimes this contiguous sense of empty space, like paths. Drag this one. Push out and shrink it down. Go right in here. I think you're okay over here. Quite good there. Drag this bush over there and move that. Hello, Love with Kiss. Well, we created there was an island over here, middle of the middle of our river, but at the moment we're taking this savanna, this plains area, and we're connecting it to the forest. The forest peninsula, very large peninsula. Actually, something I think we should add on the edges here is I imagine that somewhere in here there's bound to be fallen trees. Let's see if we can find some fallen trees. It's actually just a dead tree. None of those are fallen over. Let's go ahead and I'm gonna my favorite aspect here is I can search for trees, but I can also search all styles. And so it'll even show me ones that don't match the style of map I'm using right now. But there is a fallen trees. That's cool. All right. Those are huge. I have to shrink those down quite a lot. And we're going to be able to rotate those freely. That is the minimum size for them. And that's okay because that's closer to the size of some of these. But I just kind of want some downed branches, downed things here. I like this one. I'm going to definitely rotate that. I think downed trees are an unsung aspect of forests that, like, you've never lived near a very healthy thriving forest, you don't realize how many downed trees there are in the goddamn forest. But I don't want too many of them. I want them to be old dead ones. Yeah, logs. Yeah. And I think that's good enough. I think 4 of them will give the hint plenty, without overwhelming it. So I'm just going to go ahead and repeat our process that we did before. I'm going to take land brown 1, shrink my brush size down, which you can also use the W and S keys on the keyboard. I want to make sure it's in the foreground. I accidentally hit background. Start creating some depth shadow underneath our stamps that we put. That means including going back into the edge of the forest, underneath our downed trees as well. You know, even spaces where you might not imagine there might actually be shadow, just creating that contrast. Opacity just a little bit. Not liking how slowly it's applying. So, Love with Kiss, how are you doing today? You just joined, so welcome, welcome. You know, as I said, we are not really working on an island, though I suppose our nation is kind of an island nation. A very big one. Like Australia. Maybe not that large. Made a lot of changes, so I'm just going to save those, let this chug away for a moment. So in my own mind, at the merger of a plane at the merger of a plains environment with a forest, my brain immediately, like 100%, I don't know why, can't help but go to the Lord of the Rings, the movies, when they're at the edge of Fangorn Forest. Oh my god. Something else you can totally do as well is if you make light strokes, you can definitely kind of connect some of these patches of dark spots, especially if there's excellent suggestion, Golem. Rocks, stones, yes, wonderful. Um yeah, there are definitely stones. I can grab those. And these are the minor elements that I often forget when I'm map making. I don't forget them when I'm drawing though. Like um yeah, grab some stones in a second here. I'm just gonna finish with this current thing. Great suggestion. Large flat rocks. Yeah, I mean, because stones are everywhere, right? And there's mountains nearby, so why couldn't there be some rocks? Big rocks, boulders. Go with stone for the moment. Um, Boulders. Hello, boulders. Fantastic. But also, I was thinking of having a couple first edge that are like surprisingly low. So we've run into our first overlap that we don't want. I'm gonna hold the control key and hit the up arrow to bring that forward so it sits on top of the dead tree. But now it's sitting on top of everything because it's a layer ahead of every single tree here. So I just have to not overlap it with anything else that I don't want it to overlap. So it can overlap things behind it very easily and things under it. But I can't bring it to the left, otherwise it's going to be floating in the tree. It's a floating rock! And we don't want that. That's a nice boulder. That one's smaller. Drop that over there. That's really cool. Oh, that's really cool. We're not using that one though. Alright. And, speaking of large flat rocks, where do you think we should put it, Golem? Who has your suggestion? We could do multiples, but I think probably a single cluster of stones is going to make a statement. Yes, we can also add ruins to it. We can stack up some stamps to make it seem more ruinous. So how about this? We'll have a flat stone, and we'll have some more pointy stones that are gonna look like destroyed things. But then, now that I've taken those, take some ruins, some actual ruins. Two. We'll drop them here. What else do we have? The jungle ruins are nice. Miles of ruins? That's fun. Okay. Let's shrink this down quite a bit. Oh, that's fun. Oh. The wrong. Oh, well, let me go below size 10. What a bummer. That's okay. So something we can do is we can actually drag the size of these, change them, but I do want some of these, like, these litter in drag to make them. So even though it's the minimum size 10, if you do it manually, you can totally mess with that. I'll put that there. I actually think I'm going to make these a little larger. Drag it out a little bit more. And I think as a result of that, I need to make our single center stone a little larger as well. I was thinking would be interesting. We'll bring this to the front. Set it directly on top of the. There was some structure there at some point. Kind of want these back down now. I can't make up my mind. And desert ruins might actually be nice. Oh, oh crap. I don't have moderator controls currently open. Do we have another moderator present? Wonderful. Hang on. I just need to send a message real quick. Sending out a plea for help to our Discord. Thank you very much, Ian. I see that you just joined. Perfect. Okay. Back to the map. So you were thinking that the island and the river be some sort of marsh. So the island and the river I designed specifically for a city. So I was thinking that it's possible that down here along the edges there might be a little bit of marshland. But that otherwise we continue the plateau kind of aspect to it, implying that it's a taller structure, and there's a city on top of it. The city, that lovely city, that horrifying city that we discussed last night. Oh yeah. No, but I really like the addition of these stones. I think I need to move some things about a bit. It's a little crowded now, but I don't think it's gonna completely disrupt our map to make it appear a little different. There. Of course, that can also be moved, but let's go back. Let's go in and add some shadows. I'm just gonna do the whole clicky clack thing. Where I'm clicking about, adding some locations of shadow. Okay, and maybe these ruins over here are a place of respite for travelers. These, they provide shelter from the sun. But the mysterious secret. No, I don't know. We can address that later. But let's try to finish our forest border here. Try and get this all squared away before our stream ends. Add a little more shadow over here because even though that's technically out beyond the edge of the objects, still we still want to cover a good portion of our um, backgrounds with that dark color. Not tech shadow there. Right. So now let's grab our land yellow we were using. We'll keep the opacity there. Let's grab a slightly larger brush, let's say size 10. Let's just go in and make sure that we've got that gold color between everything here. We're gonna add some more green as well. For the moment, and do that yellow kind of base in the blank. Spaces between. All right. Honestly, think that's all I needed. So let's go ahead and grab some green then. And we're gonna do a similar treatment, but specifically, just right on the edge of the forest. Clearly gets drier out away from the forest quite rapidly. That is to say, there's not enough biodensity to keep things a little on the greener side. They can't hold on to as much moisture. Rather, grazing animals could be one part of it, which would be why, hardy grasses survive. They all get grazed down. But clearly near the forest, they can't do for one reason. But of course, that forest is full of natural creatures, spirits, even some monsters. I would say do some finishing touches here. Turn down the opacity way the heck down. I'm actually gonna leave the softness kind of up on this. Size 1 brush. Or grassy waves. Opacity a little bit more. Try 40. That's a bit better. Go up even a little bit higher. 550. Still trying to get that bright aspect, but I don't want it to be overworked either. I go too much over the same spot. Like that could detract from it. And as said before, I'm just flicking in little lines here. That one looked kind of terrible, but that's alright. We can fix that later. I have a coffee gremlin behind me. A disembodied hand touching my shoulder. These are the things that my good Christian mother warned me about. Strange tattooed hands touching my face. Yeah. Alright. Groovy. Oh. We've created the space adjacent to it. So the city of lost magic sits in the midst of a sea of grass. an island, massive island in a river that feeds all life in the air. Come next Thursday, I plan to have the remainder of our grassland all detailed out. So we should be good to go for that. But not still certain what I'm gonna do with the island. Might have to address that on next stream. Yeah, we're approaching the end of our stream today, so I just want to thank you all for joining me. It's been fun. It's always relaxing. Nice midday break from and regularity. And I agree, Golem, by the way, that this kind of does look like it might be an offering place of some sort. Maybe it was once upon a time and isn't anymore. But if you liked what we did today, check out Incarnate as always. But also join us on Wednesdays. Every Wednesday we do setting building. We spend plenty of time just kind of chatting about whatever, because ultimately at the end of the day, the setting building isn't something that we're doing to try and make a buck or anything. This is creative endeavor that is collaborative. We do it because we like creating for no other reason. And the more you create, the better you get at it, the more you learn. I really like creating with people. One of my favorite things. And so that's why our motto for the stream is creating is better with friends. So remember that if you're ever feeling like you don't feel like you know what to do or you don't know what to create, start bouncing ideas off your friends. And if your friends don't want to do that, well, we got plenty of new friends that you can have, creative ones, over in Gehenna Gaming, so you come and join our Discord. But we're gonna finish just doing a little greenery on the edges of the forest over here. Plains. We already hit that social media thing before, but just in case folks miss it, follow us on social media. We're a consent-driven gaming company. We started off as a game facilitating company. We started off as specifically horror gaming, but we've expanded quite a bit, and now we're just trying to facilitate meaningful gaming experiences, but always consent-driven. Big proponents of session zeros, big proponents of consent forms. This Saturday we have a Saturday night one shot of The Final Girl, I believe. Yeah. I'm actually gonna be playing in that, so tune in on Saturday to this Twitch channel here, and we'll play some games. It's every other Saturday that we do one shots. Usually we try and branch out, try new systems. It's gonna be a ton of fun. I'm looking forward to it. And I hope I see you guys there, because I don't know, it's always fun when you're playing a game and someone in the audience is like, I showed up, and you're like, yay, good, I'm glad, new friends. And let's, while we have a couple minutes, let's throw out some other people that you should definitely follow, like Carrion Comfort Studios, Onyx Path Publishing, and who else? Ian, help me out here. We have a lot of people that we try to boost up whenever we can. Excuse me. So again, follow Seditious Design on Twitter, because they're wonderful. And then Vorpal Tales as well. Give them a follow. But yeah, if you want more suggestions for great content creators, I'm serious about our Discord. I'm harping on it, but man, that's where I get all my information. It's from, 2D10, just too many to name, but we talk about this kind of stuff all the time. I lurk on our Discord so much because there's so much content, and you're just like, oh look, I'm just in like a garden of content, cherry picking what I want out of it. Cool. So that's us. That's Gehenna Gaming. This has been Worlds and Crafts. Our lovely map is growing every week, and it will continue to do so. And lastly, give me a follow on Twitter. I am at Kathakaros, spelled the same way that my Twitter handle is right there. At always watching. That's me. I'm Everbean, trusted advisor, always watching. Thank you guys for joining us. Trading is better with friends, and have a lovely weekend.